Hey, you guys. So, welcome back to Being Becoming the podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Micaiah, but I go by MB. And we have my girl here, your other co host, Janelle. Woo woo.
Hey, everyone.
So, shout out to all of our homies. Those are our loyal listeners who continuously listen to us or watch us week from week. But if you are new to the podcast, welcome, welcome. We are excited to have you here. Just a little bit of information about us in the podcast. We are a weekly podcast. We drop episodes every Thursday. We like to tell people that we talk a little bit about anything and everything, but everything we discuss is to help people on their journey to become. So we leave that open-ended for our audience. So if you're working on, maybe physical fitness, you're working on, like your mindset and pushing through, and, saying yes to things, like we're talking about all of that. But all we hope that you guys are working on is becoming the best version of yourself. So as always, we do have to put the caveat in. Me and Janelle are not experts here, you guys. We are constantly doing the work, and we're sharing that information with you guys. So this week, I am actually really excited to talk about what we're discussing this week because it's relating so personally in my personal life right now. Talking a little bit earlier to Janelle offline, but I don't know if you guys are feeling this way, but recently I've been so busy that when certain opportunities come up or people ask me to go do things, whether it's like hanging out with a friend that I haven't hung out with in a really long time, or hey, Micaiah, there's this new event or thing in town, like, would you like to go? I'm leaning toward more wanting to say no. Just because like with being so busy, like I want to take that time to myself when I have it to just relax. But I also am in like the little limbo period of like, well, I don't want to miss out on a great opportunity. Like it's wonderful to catch up with your friend. It's wonderful to go to these events because you get to network and meet new people who can help push your business to that next level. So I'm kind of like in limbo of like, figuring out what opportunities I should say yes to and pushing past that feeling of, I don't want to go. I really wanted to stay home. And then trusting my gut and knowing what opportunities to say no to. So I feel like this is a good conversation to have today.
Great.
So Janelle, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, in that case scenario that you was just talking about, I mentioned that it's a good thing to take on opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's very important to make time for yourself as well. So, I want to say like every opportunity that comes your way, you can't take lightly,
Right.
because you don't know if you're going to actually get the opportunity again, for one. But for two, opportunities are limited. They just don't come every 2 days or every 3 days. You get what I'm saying? They're
Right.
limited. So when you actually get an opportunity, you have to jump on board and go ahead and go for it, especially if you want it. If you want it, you can't just say no, or you can't not put in the effort or the work that's needed to do it. So I feel like just go ahead and take on each and every opportunity, as long as you want it. For one,
Right.
you have to, want it. If you don't want it, then don't take it.
Right.
But if you want it and you see something for yourself, I say go for it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And I think to add on to what you're saying, like, especially when you said like if you want it, go for it, but you also have to realize like, is it going to be beneficial to you? Is it going to be something that's going to, like when I said earlier, like trusting your gut feeling, like I'll always have some type of intuition where it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go in this direction. I don't think I've shared this story on the podcast before. I'm not going to say names or anything, but I'll tell you just like situation where I trusted my instincts. Real estate school. So when I was going to class in real estate school, I met a lot of people. I went in person personally because I really wanted to start networking with people who were going to be in the industry. Like all of us were going to get our real estate license. So hopefully, majority of us ended up being realtors or investors or whatever they were, going to get their license for. So it was the last day of class. And, it's a short time that you spend with those people. My class was like 2 weeks long. We spent a lot of time throughout the weeks, but you don't really get to know them. So it was like the last day and everybody was like, well, let's, we've been spending all this time together. Let's go hang out. And it's in the beginning class, they asked us, I was like, okay, that sounds good. I was like, yeah, I should really go, and this may be the last time I see some of them. Again, this would be a great networking opportunity to get to know some of them a little bit more personally, because, again, we're all going to end up in the industry. But I get towards the end, again, initially going in that day of class, I was like, yeah, it sounds good. I should really do it. I start getting towards the end of the class before we all say we're going to go out. And I start having this feeling like, Micaiah, you really should not go. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm feeling that way, but something told me, Micaiah, listen to your gut. Do not go out with them. And I was like, at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go out. I had been, not spending enough time with my husband the weeks before because I was so busy. I was engulfed in everything real estate. Like I was not spending any time with Micah outside of, catching up with him my day. I blocked everything out except what I was trying to achieve at that moment. So I was like, you know what? It's end of class. Let me go pick up some Chinese food, go home to my boo, spend some time with him like that in one-on-one time. And that's what I ended up doing. Had a friend I'm still friends with to this day in my class. And I call her the next day. We're on FaceTime. And I was like, well, girl, she had went out. I was like, girl, how did it go? She's like, I'm trying to forget last night. I'm like, why? Why are you trying to forget that last night? Not to tell too much business, but there was a lot of things that happened. And I don't judge anyone for anything that they do. Live your life. I know it is hard out here, so live your life. But there's certain things I personally do not do. Specifically hard drugs, I do not do. You will not see me in the bathroom doing cocaine. I'm just going to tell you, you will not see it. It will not happen. And that was some of the things that was happening that night. There were a lot of stories about people doing hard drugs. There's a lot of people doing hard drugs. And that's just not the scene that I'm around. There was a lot of people taking people down in bathrooms that had never had a conversation before. So it's just a lot of that. And that's really not my vibe. I'm more like chill. We can have a good time. Like, I'll do a drink or two, but at the end of the day, I'm going home to my husband and relaxing. And I enjoy good conversation, but that's about it. So it was definitely not my scene. And it was I tell you guys that story because it just goes to show like there will be opportunities that you think initially are good opportunities. But if you get a gut feeling, trust your gut feeling. Don't always go with, they say FOMO, fear of missing out. Like sometimes there's a book I actually have here. I think it's behind me. It's called The Joy of Missing Out. And it's such a good book. She uses the acronym JOMO because there are like joys of missing out. Like there are some things that you need to not attend. There are some opportunities that you need to let pass you by because it's not meant for you. Yeah. So just differentiating between those two things is super important because opportunities will come and go, but just stand in whatever you decide at the end of the day. And we're not all perfect. There's going to be some opportunities that you say, hey, I shouldn't do this, and you don't go with them. And they probably would have been great opportunities, but that's not the last opportunity that's going to come around.
Right. And then like MB was saying, you're going to have opportunities in which you're like thankful that you missed out on.
Girl, yes.
But then you have those other opportunities where you're like, I don't know if I should really go. And then you finally go and it was amazing. It was meant for you. You made some connections that needed to be made and was very beneficial to you. So again, you can't just be like, I don't think I'm gonna go. Again, you just have to weigh the pros and cons. And like MB say, listen to your gut feeling. Your gut feeling will never steer you wrong. And MB knows that. Like I'm one of those where I'd be like, something just telling me not to go. I'm gonna listen. I'm trying to tell you, you better listen to it. It's a intuition, and I'm telling you, listen to it because it's different times where we were supposed to be going out, and people are like, "Oh, you gonna go out with us?" And I'd be like, "Nah, I'm gonna miss out." And thank God that I missed out because literally somebody got shot at the club or something like that. You get what I'm saying? And I'll be like, "Thank you."
Girl, that was me in college all the time. People be like, I'm going out to the club. I said, no, I've had way too many incidences where we went out to the club and somebody got shot up. I don't have time for it. I'll be at the door.
Period.
I will be at the residence hall if you need to contact me.
And that's my thing, I feel like it's like, do I want to run for my life? It got to that point where you had to ask yourself, do I feel like running for my life? Do I want my life to flash before my eyes, or whatever the phrase is? I'm like, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I am good. I am not going to
Yeah.
risk it. I am okay where I am.
Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, because you guys, if you know now, you know I like to play devil's advocate every now and then. And I don't know if we've talked about this in the past. We talk about so much stuff, so I get lost in the conversations we have on camera and the conversations we have off. But there's so many. When you're achieving something, when you have a goal in mind and you start getting closer and closer to that goal, you may not know you're there, but the door may be right in front of you. There will be certain things that try to come in your way to stop you from achieving that obstacle or that goal. And sometimes it's your own doubt. So sometimes an opportunity will arise, and that opportunity is something you've been dreaming about, something you've had on your vision board. Like you're gonna take that next step, and you may not realize it. You may not realize that that's you're about to achieve that goal. And that's what I meant by like sometimes having to push through, because all of us get tired. Like life is hard. Life is not easy. Anyone that tells you that their life is easy, I don't know what type of lifestyle they're living. Bless them, but I don't know what life is very hard. There's a lot of things that you get. There's so much out there. So realizing that sometimes, even when you get down in the dumps, or you feel like I've been working toward this and I've been grinding toward this, and I feel like I'm getting nowhere, but an opportunity arises and you're like, well, I'm starting to have those doubts. Like maybe it's not for me. Maybe it's something where, I'm not ready for it. Because a lot of us, like, we've been working for something so long that we're like, hey, maybe it's going to take a little bit longer. Maybe we're not ready for it. So making sure that you push through some of that stuff. I have to do it all the time. Like I get tired all the time, especially when you're working a lot. Like sometimes I work 12-hour days. I went from a 9 to 5 to now, with real estate, I'm an independent contractor. So it's all my business. We do this podcast. This is us doing it on our own. Like no one else is paying us to do this. So I work outside of a 9 to 5. I don't work regular structured hours. So I get tired very easily. But it's like pushing through past all that, because I know there's an end goal in mind. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get to, my end goal, but making sure I push past, and I do, when something does arise, I just check it out. It may not be something that's for me, but just listening, and understanding what the opportunity is, and then making a decision from there. Because I think that is important. I think it's important to hear people out when they present an opportunity.
Very much so. And sometimes we let money get in the way of different opportunities too. And that's totally true, because sometimes we'd be looking at the finances and we'd be like, oh, I can't afford this, or I can't do this because it requires me to pay a down deposit of, whatever amount of money. And sometimes we just don't have it, in that moment. But if the opportunity is meant for you to take, some way, somehow, it will be paid for.
Girl, yes. And just even to push a little bit further on what you're saying, every opportunity isn't there to get you paid. Like some opportunities are there for you to learn more. It may be something you may be, juggling between two things. Like I think Janelle had talked about this, like the job she has now and the previous job, one paid a little bit less, but one was going to be probably a better opportunity for her. So understanding that it's not always about the money when things are being presented. Like what is the overall experience? That's what I mean by hearing people out. What is the overall experience? What is going to, benefit you? Because knowledge is power. Knowledge will get you to the money. So the more information you're able,
no, you could keep going.
I was just gonna say, the more information you're able to receive, the better you're gonna be set up for your future.
That too. And then sometimes, I know we say network. Sometimes that's not always a good thing, but a lot of times it does place you in the proper position for you to get opportunities presented to you. And sometimes those opportunities is just meant for people to know your name. I know that sounds crazy, But when people hear your name, be like, "Dang, I heard that name before. Who is that person?" And then they start doing research into you, and you're not even knowing it at this time.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then next thing you know, you get an offer or email sent to you, and they're like, "Oh, can you come speak at this function?" Or, "Oh, can you sit on what's the thing where people be
Board
like,
or
yeah, like sit on the board and have
mm-hmm.
this open discussion or something like that."
A panel.
Um, yeah, a panel. That's what it was. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But in those instances, you'd be like, what if I didn't take that? Sometimes it's just all about being at the right place at the right time.
That is so true. That is so, so true. And knowing certain people are making those connections, like, yeah, networking is a lot. Like, and not every connection you make with networking is going to pan out. But sometimes having those conversations with people, like Janelle said, like your name gets out there and your name gets to rooms that you haven't even touched, people you haven't even met. I can't tell you. That's another thing. I don't think, and this kind of goes a little bit off topic, you guys, so I do apologize. But I don't think people realize how much other people help in other people's journeys to success. You're not going to get anywhere by yourself. There's someone else, even this part of life, like there's a few people, it's not even just one person. There's a ton of people that have gotten me to this point in life. And I'm not 1,000% where I want to be. Like there's a lot of things I want to achieve, but without the people, without my village that raised me growing up, without my friends who continue to support me, without mentors and supervisors that I've had in the past, I wouldn't be where I was today.
Mm-hmm. In the man above.
Yes,
Jesus.
and God first.
Yes. Yes.
But it takes someone, it takes, when you think of a lot of successful people in life, whoever you're thinking about, Bill Gates, if you read his story, LeBron James, if you read his story, Michelle Obama, her story, like anyone that is you deem truly successful, you got to look at the people behind them, the people who have supported them, their team, the people who have given them opportunities. That's what we're talking about a lot today, is opportunities and pushing through. Like it's because someone gave them a chance that they were able to reach the level of success that they were able to reach. And it's in every story, like every biography that you've read, they've mentioned other people's names as people who have helped them on their journeys to succeed. And that's the same with me and Janelle. Like there's tons of people I can name. So yeah, I think it's super important to recognize that you're not getting here by yourself. And that's why we talk about networking, because you never know who's going to be that stepping stone for you in your personal journey.
Definitely so. And that's the crazy thing. I feel like a lot of times it was people who was speaking about me to other people. And again, like Makaya said, I had no idea my name was being brought into the room or into the conversation, and different things happen. You'd be like, "Oh, I know you from so and so." You'd be like, "I don't know you,
girl."
And then the next thing you know, they're like, "Oh, I would like you to help with this, and can you give me your input on this?" And you'd be like, "Am I even qualified to be giving my input, my 2 cents in?" But when you're called for it and an opportunity presents itself, go ahead and take it. Go ahead and take it. In that case, it's meant to actually benefit you.
Right.
And so sometimes you have to look at it at that. What is that putting me? Most opportunities isn't to hurt you, but to better you or better position you in the future. So just take it from that standpoint alone.
And I'll even take it further with my personal story. Because when you were talking about that, for some reason, my mind jumped to, and there's going to be people who like hate on your journey in your process. But me personally, especially for those who have been like watching and listening, and Janelle what you gonna say?
Girl, okay, I know the people will probably watch this and be like, why is she making that face? I'm not laughing at MB, but I'm laughing at myself because I saw the face that I made. But that's on a serious note. People are going to hate on you through
Mm-hmm.
the journey and through the process, but continue, MB.
But what I was gonna say is, me personally, if you guys know anything about me, um, I try to keep everything pretty positive. Because, again, we talked about life is super hard. I understand that there are people out there that don't like me. I'm not meant for everyone. But I try to keep everything positive. Like, if you have an issue with me or you don't like how I do something, a certain thing, like I try never I'm try never to like really turn negative unless I feel like you've really disrespected me in some type of way. But the reason why I say that is because there are going to be people who pray for your downfall and who hate on you, but are still going to be a part of your journey. I personally feel like, and there's probably some people that I can't, but I personally feel like I can work with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you have the most negative attitude about life. Like, it may be a point where we have to work together, and you may be on, again, my process to, or my journey to wherever I want to go next. And just having, again, like, everyone has certain feelings, but just having more of like especially when it comes to business. If it's about my business, my feelings are aside. I push all that aside. This is about business and what I'm trying to get to. I don't care about, what you may have said or what I may have said. We can push that aside for right now and deal with that later, because I want to get to whatever we're supposed to be getting to with this business. So I think for me personally, me having such a positive outlook, or just like trying to turn like lemons into lemonade in a sense, has really helped me and has pushed me forward, because again, you never know who God is going to use for your journey.
Mm-hmm. Girl, you must have been at the church house with me. No, she really wasn't at the church house with me, y'all. But our pastor had talked about that today, in which she was just saying how some people who is on the journey with you will not reach the destination.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is because, number one, complaining, and then number two, the negativity that they speak out,
Mm-hmm.
not only on themselves but onto other people. And so when you come across people like that, sometimes they can hinder you from reaching your journey, or they can start making you feel like, oh, well, shoot, maybe they right. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe um, the money won't ever come, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sometimes those people in the room with you will cause that to happen. And sometimes you just have to, like you just said, you have to stay positive about the whole situation. Look at the bright side of things, and um, always look at it from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Like Envy said, it can be the odds are against you, but you have the faith of a mustard seed to conquer, and you will. You get what I'm saying? So you have to be careful about who you allow around you when that opportunity presents itself
Mm-hmm.
in that journey. You really do have to be careful. Either they're going to push you, or either they're going to distract you. And
Right.
you you really have to be like, you know what, I'm gonna classify you in this group, I'm gonna put you over here in this group, and now you know who you can work with, who you can't tell your business to. And that's
Mm-hmm.
another thing, sometimes you talk too much. People talk too much in general, and everything ain't meant for everybody to know. Oh, I said that's so country, but but y'all get the gist of what I'm saying. Everybody is not meant to know your moves,
Girl,
what you're
yes.
doing, what you're planning on, what you're working towards. Everybody don't need to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Only a select few. And again, sometimes it's just to keep it between you and God until you make it through.
Girl,
So
yes.
I'm just telling y'all the ins and outs. But thank you, MB, for mentioning that. Just staying positive. I said positivity. Just staying positive along your journey of opportunity is really, really key.
It is. It so is. Um, because you don't want to look back at something and be like, I missed that opportunity because I didn't stay positive. Because when two people are arguing, you can't see who's at fault. You just see two people arguing. So it's so important to, like, if this is something you really want to do and you feel like, I'm almost, again, like, you're almost there. You may not realize it, but you're almost there. You're making strides day in, day out. So just staying focused on that and your end goal in mind, and not letting all the noise and the people around you, because again, people are going to try to purposely do this. so you can hit rock bottom, or you can, start to descend in what you're doing and take you off your path. Like, but if you continue to stay positive and continue to just, push through, maybe do some breathing exercises, because honey, we all need to breathe every now and then. Like, because I be sitting here, because, all of us, we all have our buttons. So maybe you just need to take, a beat, a second, talk to someone, talk to a friend, talk to a therapist, whatever it may be, but get back on your track. Don't let them deter you from what you're supposed to be over here achieving.
And sometimes the hater is presented to you just so you can push and go even harder.
Mm-hmm.
Have y'all ever looked at that? Sometimes it's not just, this person just talking about me or talking stuff. Sometimes it's just meant to push you to even reach greater. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Any MB just had to see my whole face over here. But I'm just sitting here like, what was I talking about, girl? I was just
You
like,
said to help you push harder. Like, a hater can be presented to help you push harder.
yeah, they really can. And sometimes it's just meant for that. To
Mm-hmm.
be how can I say it? Competition will really show me how much and how far I can I
Girl,
can go.
yes.
And
And it's
anybody
healthy
knows me.
competition. It can be
Yeah.
healthy competition.
Not like I'm gonna do some slick stuff to make you lose. I
Right.
ain't talking about that type of competition. But MB knows me. I'm going in for the win, for the kill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Period. So I'm gonna do whatever Janelle has to do that. But again, y'all, I'm not gonna cheat or nothing like that or do nothing crazy to nobody. But just know in the competition, it's all serious. No games, no nothing. I'm taking it. But let your haters be your motivators.
That is key. That is key. I love it. I love it. But yeah, you guys, we just wanted to talk to you guys about pushing through, because again, this was something, when I was talking to Janelle about this topic, this was something I feel like I'm going through right now. Like, I feel like I'm starting to get like winded, or I'm on this journey and it's starting to get like a little bit harder. Even with our time, like our time is so limited. Me and Janelle have had to, figure out ways where we can still get to this podcast, because we're both very busy. Janelle's back to school, it's school year. And there's so much other stuff going on, and then me getting more busier. Like, so we're just trying to push through, to be honest. And we're trying to, when we're going through certain things, we want to share that with you guys, our audience and listeners and viewers. And us just talking through this. Again, this podcast is like therapy for us. It really is. Like, I get to go on here every week and talk to my girl about, different topics, things that we've either been through, we're currently going through, or feel like we're going to have to go through in the future. So it's a blessing.
Yes, very much so.
But girl, is there any other takeaways when it comes through to pushing through and saying yes to an opportunity?
Like MB stated this earlier, just keeping your eye on the prize. Don't let any distractions distract you, basically. Sometimes we're able to look at our peripheral for a reason. For a reason, y'all. That's true. But put your blinders on. In a horse race, they put blinders on the horses so they won't get distracted based off their peripheral vision. And so anytime you're going into a new opportunity or a new journey, put on your blinders and just stay focused on what's ahead.
Girl, I love your analogies. Like, I swear you always have a good one.
Girl, thank you.
So just put it in perspective. Like, it's so easy to remember. But yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying. Making sure that you put your blinders on, but also, like, I think my main takeaway from this episode is just push through. Like, figure out, listen to your gut. First of all, figure out if this is, like, your instincts are there for a reason. If you feel some type of way about the situation, if you feel like it's not going to benefit you, or there's going to be some negative mess there, like, maybe it's not the right opportunity for you. And also realize everything's not for money. There's so much you can learn from different situations, and it doesn't have to be just because you're getting paid, or it's going to advance you with, your net worth or whatever it may be. Like, there's so much stuff you can learn from life and different experiences, and just, push through that. Okay, you guys. Okay. So that is it for us this week. Thank you so much for tuning in or listening. If you have listened to the end of this episode, you are part of our homie crew. Whether you are a new watcher, listener, could not get that out. Whether you're a new watcher or listener, or you're a returner and you keep riding with us, we appreciate you guys so much. If you want to engage with us a little bit more, going over to Being Becoming Podcast on IG. That is Being Becoming Podcast. We would love to engage with you guys. And if you want to follow me personally, you can go over to Instagram at I'm Just MB.
And you can follow me at Beautiful J.
Yes, and I also wanted to mention this because I know my personal page, I've been getting this a lot. Outside of me selling houses and helping people, find houses, if you're interested in real estate, like just reach out to me. I would love to have that conversation. A new update since I have this shirt on and I realized I have this shirt on. My group just started a new brokerage. So it is called 𝒃𝒃. Thanks, girl. Thanks. It is called 𝒃𝒃. It is a brokerage for and by the agents. The name was based off of like bolster. Bolster is actually a word. It means to like extend. And it's just been great. Like we're really community focused. We have a vision that's housing for all. So whether it's, you see people on the side of the street and they need somewhere to stay for the night, that is our, giving back, and that is our service that we do. Or whether you're, middle of the road you think you can buy, but you're not really sure about what buying entails. You want to know more about the process. Like we work with those all the way up to luxury clients. So housing for all, that is our main focus. I'm super excited about 𝒃𝒃. And if you're interested in being an agent or want to know more information, reach out to me. I love to have those conversations, and I've actually been receiving a few DMs, which I'm super surprised about talking about being an agent. So I would love to speak to you guys and share any information I have. So feel free to go over to I'm Just MB and we can talk. Okay, well, as always, thanks again, you guys, for listening, and we will see you guys next week. Bye, homies.
See you later, homies.